Today let me start SST chapter number 5, the revolt of 1857 means 1857 का विद्रोह, जहाँ से ये स्वतंत्रता की चिंगारी भड़की थी. Let's begin. We have learned that the British policies were practically against India. तो जो ब्रिटिश पॉलिसीज थी, जो ब्रिटिश सरकार की नीतियाँ थी, वो किसके अगेंस्ट थी, किसके विरुद्ध थी? भारतीयों के विरुद्ध. किंग्स, क्वींस, नवाब, peasants, landlords and tribals all felt oppressed and exploited by the policies of the East India Company. जितने भी थे, राजा थे, रानियाँ थी, नवाब थे, जितने भी जमींदार थे, सब किससे त्रस्त थे? जो ब्रिटिश सरकार थी, जो ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी थी, सब परेशान थे उनके रूल से, उनके शासन से. These policies did not promise welfare. From conflicts and war to policies like the doctrine of lapse or the subsidiary alliance, everything was aimed at seizing power, wealth and territories. The peasants were the most hit as they had to pay high revenue. The tribals were deprived of their rights to the forests and hills. People realized that the British were here to exploit and profits and extract maximum resources from our country. Between 1757 and 1856, there were many local revolts which were easily suppressed by the British. Resentment was high and trigger was provided in the form of CH-5 mutiny. Okay, so the soldiers revolted. The soldiers revolted with the intention of pushing the British out of India. So let's read on the understand the causes and the effects of the revolt of 1857. Causes of the uprising of 1857. पॉलिटिकल कॉजेज. अब इसके नुकसान क्या क्या हुए, मतलब अपराइजिंग 1857 से. पॉलिटिकल कॉजेज क्या क्या थे? द ब्रिटिश टुक अवे द पावर ऑफ द नवाब्स एंड द किंग्स. द ब्रिटिश टुक अवे द पावर. अब ये जो ब्रिटिश सरकार थी, इन्होंने क्या किया? उनको ओवर पावर करना शुरू कर दिया, नवाब को, राजाओं को. दिस हैपेंड ग्रेजुअली सिंस द मिड 18th century. Then they introduced policies like the subsidiary alliance. The kings who accepted it had to disband their own armies and keep a British resident at their court who constantly interfered in the administration. Moreover, these kings had to bear all the expenses of running the kingdom. The king and queens of India was the doctrine of lapse which forced Rani Lakshmibai to rise against the British. है ना. अब रानी लक्ष्मीबाई का भी बहुत बड़ा रोल था इसमें, अंग्रेजों को खदेड़ने में भी. इन्होंने भी जो है आखिरी सांस तक इनसे खूब मोर्चा लिया था. She actually led the revolt of 1857 as her adopted son was not allowed to ascend the throne as per the doctrine. So the annexation of Awadh also angered Indians. In 1856, Lord Dalhousie annexed Awadh, which was the last territory to be annexed. The Nawab of Awadh had been loyal to the British since a subsidiary alliance was imposed upon him in 1801. This annexation was seen as a betrayal on the part of the British. This led to resentment among the squires who were from Awadh. Dalhousie declared in 1849 that the family of the then Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar would have to leave Red Fort after his death. ठीक है. तो in 1856 गवर्नमेंट जनरल जॉन कैनिंग brought down to Mughal Empire. Bahadur Shah Zafar would be the last Mughal king, and after his death none of his descendants would be acknowledged as kings. Before this, the name of the Mughal king had already been removed from the coins minted by the British. इकोनॉमिक कॉज. अब इसके जो है जो आर्थिक नुकसान थे वो क्या क्या हुए? द पॉलिसीज ऑफ द ब्रिटिश कोज वाइड स्प्रेड डिस्ट्रेस एंड डिसकंटेंट. द पीजेंट्स सफर्ड एज द रेवेन्यू वाज हाई एंड द ब्रिटिश स्ट्रिक्टली एनफोर्स्ड द कलेक्शन ऑफ revenues. As a result, the peasants were left without sufficient produce for their families. Even when natural calamities struck or crops failed, they were forced to pay the revenue. The peasants often had to borrow money from the moneylenders, and later when they couldn't repay the loan to the moneylenders took away their lands. क्राफ्ट्समैन एंड वीवर्स फेस्ड अनफेयर कंपटीशन. अब जो जितने भी काम करने वाले थे ना, वीवर्स थे, क्राफ्टमैन थे, उनके साथ अनफेयर मतलब होने लगा ये चीजें. After the Industrial Revolution, the goods were produced in bulk. People preferred to buy these machine-made goods, which were much cheaper than the handmade products by Indians, which were expensive. अब जो इन भारतीय लोग अपने हाथों से जो क्राफ्ट बनाते थे, जो चीजें बनाते थे, वो सस्ती कर दी गई और जो मशीनों से बनाया हुआ सामान था वो महंगा कर दिया गया. उससे क्या हुआ? भारतीयों को बहुत नुकसान होने लगा. इकोनॉमिक अर्थव्यवस्था बहुत बिगड़ गई. Social and religious causes. The British intervened in the social customs and traditions of Indians. Laws were passed to ban the practice of sati and widow remarriage was encouraged. Although these measures were progressive, they angered some sections of society. People became suspicious. At the same time, the British indulged in social discrimination. They had an attitude of racial superiority. They did not allow Indians to travel in first-class compartment in the train. Even the highly qualified Indians were neither promoted nor appointed to high posts. This led to frustration among the educated class. है ना. अब क्या होने लगा? सोशल और रिलीजियस कॉजेस क्या हुए? सामाजिक और जो धार्मिक नुकसान हुए कि सोशल ट्रेडिशन इंडियन लॉ वर पास टू बैन द प्रैक्टिस ऑफ सती एंड विडो रिमैरिज वाज एनकरेज्ड. Although these measures were progressive, they angered some sections of society. People became suspicious. At the same time, the British in social discrimination, they had an attitude of racial superiority. They did not allow Indians to travel in first class compartment. अब क्या होता था कि भारतीयों को अलाउ नहीं था ट्रेन में, जो फर्स्ट क्लास डिब्बा होता है कि तुम लोग तो काले हो. वर्ण भेद होता है ना कि गोरे हैं, जो गोरे हैं अंग्रेज मतलब वो फर्स्ट क्लास में ट्रेवल करेंगे, तुम लोग नहीं, तुम काले हो, तुम बेकार लोग हो, तुम सेकंड क्लास यानी कि सेकंड थर्ड क्लास के डब्बे में ट्रेवल करोगे. तो ये डिस्क्रिमिनेशन होने लगा था. प्रमोशन ऑफ वेस्टर्न एजुकेशन, कन्वर्जन ऑफ पीपल टू क्रिश्चियनिटी बाय यूरोपियन मिशनरीज, इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ इंग्लिश एज एन ऑफिशियल लैंग्वेज, imposition of taxes on land belonging to temples and mosques, and regal protection of inheritance rights to the people who converted to Christianity. All these factors angered and the Hindus as well as the Muslims. Military causes. The Indians poised soldiers who were employed by the company were discontented with its policies. They were treated unfairly by the British officer. Their salaries and opportunities for promotion were not equal to those of the British officers. Their special allowance, which was given to spoils when they were sent to fight outside the country, was also stopped. Immediate causes. There was widespread anger and hatred against the British rule. By 1857, minor rebellions became the order of the day. In 1856, a new rifle was introduced in the army. It was called the Enfield rifle. The soldiers had to bite off the greased wrapper that covered the cartridge before loading it into the rifle. The news that the grease was made up of cows and pigs' fat spread like wildfire. Hindus and Muslims felt that their religious feelings were being deliberately hurt and they refused to use the cartridge. The revolt of 1857. अब शुरू होता है 1857 का विद्रोह. वो किस रूप में उठा? मंगल पांडे was a spy in the British Army. He was from the 34th Bengal Native Infantry Regiment, which was stationed at Barrackpore. On 29 March 1857, he fired at British commander and called upon other spies to revolt against the use of the new cartridge. Many spies, यानी कि joined him. He was arrested and hanged on 18 April 1857. This caused a lot of anger, and on 24th April 85, spies revolted against the company in Meerut. तो जो 1857 का विद्रोह था वो शुरू ही मेरठ से हुआ था. On 9th May 1587, they were dismissed and sentenced to 10 years in jail. This sparked off a mutiny in Meerut. The spies on 10th May 1857 killed British officers, released the imprisoned spies, captured guns and ammunition, and set fire to British properties. The spoils set off for Delhi and reached there in the early hours of the next morning. After traveling all night, they were determined to end the British rule in the country. With the help of the local spoils, they overpowered the British garrison and took control of Delhi. They declared Bahadur Shah Zafar as the Emperor of India and the leader of the revolt. Bahadur Shah Zafar agreed to this and wrote to all the chiefs and rulers in the country to organize a confederacy of Indian states to fight against the British. This step had great implications as it motivated several rulers to revolt against the British. Main centers and leaders of the revolt. Delhi. The next morning, the march to Delhi were joined by the local spoils. They killed the European officers and captured the city. On 11th May 1857, Bahadur Shah II was persuaded to accept the leadership of the revolt. इस जो है विद्रोह का जो है leadership उसने संभाली. General Bakht Khan, leader of the Mughal army stationed at Bareilly, also rebelled, and along with this his troops marched to Delhi. Thus what had started as a mutiny soon turned into a revolution. Sir John Nicholson, commander of the British forces, with the help of some 6 soldiers, succeeded in recapturing Delhi on September 20, 1857. Bahadur Shah was captured and deported to Yangon, Rangoon, and his 2 sons were shot dead by late Hodson Bahadur Shah, later died in 1862. Kanpur. The revolt at Kanpur was led by Nana Sahab, the discontented adopted son of Peshwa Baji Rao. Along with the spoils, he was able to capture Kanpur after expelling the British. He declared himself the Peshwa. The troops of Nana Sahib were led by a loyal and gallant leader. Tatya Tope Azimullah, another official of Nana Sahib, had also contributed to the success of the Indians over the British. Nana Sahab's heroism, however, is often criticized because he cunningly killed a British general even though he had promised to protect them. लखनऊ. अभी धीरे धीरे जो विद्रोह की चिंगारी थी भड़कती हुई कहां तक पहुंची. After that, Lucknow. In Lucknow, the revolt was directed by Begum Hazrat Mahal of Awadh, who declared her son Birjis Qadar as the Nawab of Awadh. Mutineers in this region were very strong, and beside the British residency for 5 months, Maulvi Amanullah of Faizabad was another remarkable leader of this region. After the capture of Lucknow, he led the revolt of Rohilkhand and fought bravely until he was treacherously killed by an Indian Raja. Next one is Jhansi. Okay, so in central India and Bundelkhand, the leader of the rulers was the young Rani of Jhansi, Lakshmi Bai. She was perhaps one of the greatest heroines of Indian history. According to the British historians present at that time, she was the best and the bravest of the leaders of the revolt of 1857. Dressed in male attire, she fought like a true soldier with unprecedented courage and military skill. With the help of her associate Tatya Tope, she captured Gwalior. When the British attacked it, she fought back gallantly till she died on 17 June 1858. Next one is Bareilly. At Bareilly, the capital of Rohilkhand, the spoils revolted and declared a Rohilla chief as the governor who was in power till the city was captured by the British. Western Bihar. Kunwar Singh, the 80-year-old landlord of Jagdishpur, was the most outstanding military leader of the region. He fought bravely till his death in 1858, when his brother Amar Singh took the lead. The greatest heroes of the revolt were, however, thousands of spoils, peasants and the artisans who joined them and fought valiantly with unprecedented courage. In some places, the civil population rose in revolt even before the spoils did. In fact, the participation of the peasants, artisans and general population gave the revolt its real strength and the character of a popular uprising. Suppression of the revolt. Though the Hindus and Muslims fought shoulder to shoulder and people made a heroic effort. The revolt was suppressed by the end of 1858. So, Delhi was captured by the British by September 1858. Bahadur Shah Zafar was imprisoned and was exiled to Burma. With his death in 1862, the Mughal dynasty came to an end. With 1815 September में क्या हुआ, मुगल का जो है खात्मा हुआ. His sons were killed by the British. उसके पुत्र बेटे को जो है किसने, अंग्रेजों ने मार गिराया. कानपुर, नाना साहेब was defeated by the British, refusing to surrender. He escaped to Nepal in 1858. Nobody ever heard of him again. Gwalior, Tatya Tope carried on guerrilla warfare in central India in 1859. He was betrayed by a zamindar in whose house he was taking shelter. He was hanged after a hurried trial in 1859. The Rani of Jhansi died on the battlefield. By 1859, all the prominent leaders of the revolt were either dead or captured. John Lawrence and Campbell, commanders by their exemplary courage and military techniques, brought the situation under control. The British now took stern steps to punish the rebels. The excesses committed on the British in Kanpur and other places were still fresh in their memory. Having power in their hands, they now resorted to inhuman treatment of the rebels and executed many of them. Hundreds lost their lives. Even the common people were not spared. Villages after villages were burnt and people were mercilessly punished. गांव के गांव जला रहे थे वो लोग, और जो बेचारे निर्दोष लोग थे वो इसमें मारे जा रहे थे. Causes of the failure of the revolt. अब इस विद्रोह के फेल होने के क्या वो थे कारण? Why did the revolt fail? अब ये आंदोलन फेल क्यों हुआ, ये विद्रोह फेल क्यों हुआ? Better war plan of the East India Company is one of the major causes of the failure of 1857 revolt. इनका जो है एक मतलब वॉर करने का जो बेटर प्लान था ना, इन्होंने बहुत अच्छे से सारी प्लानिंग की हुई थी. तो सबसे पहले कारण तो यही था, लैक ऑफ प्रॉपर लीडरशिप क्वालिटी इन द इंडियन स्पॉइल्स. तो हमारे भारतीयों में क्या था, जो यहाँ के राजा थे, महाराजा थे और नवाब थे, इनमें आपस में वो नहीं थी, अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं थी, ये आपस में झगड़ा करते रहते. तो लैक ऑफ लीडरशिप. ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी possessed a well-trained and well-equipped army which was much better than the Indian strength. अब उनके पास जो है बहुत ही बेटर आर्मी थी भारतीयों के मुकाबले. A portion of the Indians, mainly zamindars and other higher communities, supported the East India Company. Many Indian rulers, selfish of the British power, they did not join the revolt. Results of the revolt. The Great Uprising of 1857 was an important landmark in the history of modern India. The revolt of 1857 had come as great shock to the British. The proclamation of Queen Victoria was an attempt to pacify the feelings and sentiments of the Indian people and to convince them that their interests were now safe under the rule of the British Crown. अब इसका रिजल्ट क्या निकला विद्रोह का? आफ्टर द रिवोल्ट द इंग्लिश ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनीज रूल केम टू एन एंड, मतलब समाप्ति पर था. द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ इंडिया वाज टेकन ओवर द ब्रिटिश क्राउन. बाय स्पेशल एक्ट बोथ द बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स एंड द बोर्ड ऑफ कंट्रोल वर अबॉलिश्ड. In their place, the office of the Secretary of State for India was created. He was assisted by an India Council of 15 members. The Indian army was slowly reorganized. The policy of ruthless conquest in India was given up. The British realized the mistake of antagonizing the rulers of Indian states and of East India Company's rules. With the suppression of the revolt in 1858, a new phase appeared in the history of the British rule in India. There were important changes in the British policy towards India. There were administrative changes also. Act of 1858 and Queen Victoria's proclamation in August 1858 the British Parliament passed on it. It put an end to the rule of the East India Company. The British Crown took over the administration. The Government General of India, also called Viceroy, became the representative of the Crown. So this is the revolt of 1857. All topics are covered in this chapter here. I hope you all are very well understand this. So we will meet you in next class. Thank you.